Well, thanks for tuning in tonight and watching the show. We told you guys we was going to do a little quick Q&A after the show tonight, and we had a lot of great questions on Facebook and on Instagram. So we're going to ask Jerry some of these questions. Some of these questions we get a lot and just don't have time to answer them in like the comment section and stuff like that. So here's a good opportunity for you guys that put these questions out for Jerry to answer them. So we're going to get started. We have a long list, but first question.
Is it too late to back out now?
No, you're stuck now. You're screwed.
Okay.
All right. So the biggest question we got tonight was asking about Brandon and his car. Everyone's wanting to know about the red Camaro.
The red Camaro got wrecked. A lady ran a red light, T-boned his car, totaled it, and of course he had liability insurance on it, so it's actually in a scrapyard. The red car is no longer a car.
Is Brandon ever going to go for the list?
Brandon will not go for the list. The black car takes its toll on Brandon. It takes so much time and devotion. Brandon will race. Brandon has a car that he just finished. Brandon actually has a couple cars. If he was to do something on a list, it would be probably something small tire as far as trying to get on that big tire list with that caliber of cars. No, I don't think you'll ever see Brandon do that. He don't want no part of it. I mean, he gets all of it he wants with my car. And then some.
Well, as you've seen tonight on the show, you guys had issues with the car, and Brandon was the one that busted his ass and got things ready, because during a race, you're that serious type. You're thinking about the race. You're thinking about this. Having Brandon at your side, being your son, does it make it a lot easier?
Yeah, I mean, I got to focus on driving. I got to focus on driver's meeting, filming for the show. To be able to walk away from the car and know that it's in Brandon's hands that's worth $1 million. Brandon's very smart. He's kind of tough to get him to put his full time and devotion to something unless he really likes it. Brandon has the world ahead of him tuning. He's tuning now with HP tuners. He's played with fast. Now he knows fuel tech. He's getting really good at what he does. The tuning part of my car, he has down to a T. He's working on the power management and that stuff right now. But yeah, that episode, I walked away from the car. I mean, I checked a few things, walked away from it, left him with it. And when I came back out, he had figured out what was going on and had it working.
He definitely saved your ass in this episode.
He definitely saved my ass. I mean, we gave Dave a run for his money, and Dave already had 2 licks on that road. We had no data. We swung for the fence, and like I said, if we'd have had another 2-3 feet of that race, I'd have drove around him, because I've got the video on my phone, and 1 foot past the finish line, I'm in front of him.
It was hauling ass.
Yeah, he was rolling out the back.
You know, we've had a lot of questions about Brandon. We've answered a lot of them. You touched base on his tuning background because people was asking about that. But
now keep in mind, Brandon got thrown to the wolves. We had HPP helping us, and I love Manny and Ozzy to death, but me and Manny just butted heads. It was just best that me and Brandon learned our own thing. So when we left HPP, I threw the laptop in Brandon's lap and said, "Here, learn this." So he got thrown to the wolves. And I can honestly say we've run that motor for 1.5 years straight now, and we have not hurt a motor. We ain't got a push rod. We ain't got a rocker arm, nothing. His tuning has been precise. And thank you, Amsoil, because we have no issues with rockers or push rods like most people do. So he's done a phenomenal job.
So another question people ask about Brandon is, being that he's your son, what's it like a father and son working together? Because I contest this because I've worked with my dad all my life, and I know sometimes it's tough.
He's hard-headed as hell. I'm hard-headed. If I want to change something on the car, oh Lord, I mean, I got to fist fight him. He don't like changing nothing. He is stubborn. He will tell me when he thinks I'm wrong. And sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, but it can be tough. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want anybody else up there backing me up, pulling me to the starting line. My life's in his hands. So
It's a trust thing.
it's a trust thing.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely work. Anytime you're with your son 24/7, you're gonna butt heads. I mean, and me and my dad, we were never close like me and Brandon. I mean,
You guys spend a lot of time together, and that tends to happen. I mean, I've been around my dad all my life and worked with him side by side, and a lot of times when you guys are alike, you tend to butt heads. And I've seen it with you and Brandon, but then again, I've seen that side of that you guys trust each other, and you know, you believe in each other, and at the end of the day, no matter how much you guys butt heads, you're still leaving the racetrack together, and you're still doing it the next
he's
week.
still my son. I still love him to death. I mean,
Well, we'll move on to some other questions here. So we've had some hair questions.
yeah. Why do I braid my hair?
Why do you braid your hair?
I don't braid my hair very often, but when I do, normally on race night, it's a lot easier to contain it, putting a helmet on and off. It's just a lot easier to contain it, period, because there's a lot of hair here.
Well, I got to say, you know, we got a fast car and probably the best looking hair on the show.
We
But
know
then-
I got the best looking hair.
Well, but then again, you got to discount that too. I mean, because look at Chuck. I mean, he's bald. I mean, you look at
Yeah,
Chief.
there's not a lot of hair to compete
he's
with,
bald.
is there?
I mean, I think you take all the races combined together. I don't think they got enough hair just to even have your beard.
No, probably not. I mean, that's one thing about me. I'm part Indian. My hair grows really well here. Now here, not so much. This is like 2 years, and it's still patchy. If I could grow on my face what I could grow on my head, I could grow a hell of a beard.
What are some of the upgrades that you're doing in this off season with the car?
We took the whole 4-link section out. I was having problems with the main tubing where the 4-link mounts, cracking, breaking, flexing, because it was done wrong when the car was originally built. And we went in and patched it 3 different times. And it's just, that's what's killing the car is I can't get the bottom bar angle that I need. It runs uphill no matter what I do, and I need it level or downhill. So Larson is fixing all of that for us. New double frame rail, just basically chassis upgrades to make this car 60 foot and make the 330 better, so it front half's as good as it back half's. And if it does, these boys are in trouble, even at No Prep Kings, because it's going to be a 380 car all day long.
Well, and that's something that we're going to show you guys here too on YouTube channel is this week we actually have to run up to Larson's and look at the car, and we're going to give you guys some video and talk about some of the changes we're making and some of the changes that Jerry's wanting to do to the car and some of the things that he's just doing so we can get prepared for No Prep Kings. Another question that keeps asking is, like the growing question here is, are you getting away from turbos?
No, we are staying turbos. We're just doing something a little different.
Okay, because a lot of people are asking if, you know, you're going pro charge, or you're going blower, or what are you doing, and this and that. How much repairs do you have to do after the crash?
Believe it or not, the chassis was really not hardly hurt. I mean, I spent 50 grand fixing the car, but there was like a very little tubing. There was the body was screwed. We had to put a whole new body on it. Chassis needed like 1 or 2 bars replaced and a new front strut. And 5 weeks to the day, we had it back on the road, sitting in the same lane we wrecked out of and made a hit.
That's fast. So,
Expensive, but I mean, it was cheaper to fix it than buy another car.
well, yeah. What do you wish that you would have went boost sooner, going turbo sooner?
No. I mean, I still love nitrous. If my very, very, very good buddy Monty Smith was still alive, I'd probably still be running nitrous. But when he died, I just thought it was time for me to step away from it and try something different.
How much horsepower is the split bumper putting out right now in its configuration?
We have never had the stage 4 motor on a dyno, but I can tell you it will make way north of 4,000.
A lot of horsepower. Was it only beef jerky and Skittles in the tackle box?
No, there was fishing tackle in there, knives, and it actually, to be honest, everybody says Skittles, but it was not Skittles, it was Starburst.
Even better.
My favorite are orange Starburst. And teriyaki beef jerky.
Teriyaki beef jerky. Well, after tonight, you're not eating any more beef jerky. When did you start racing?
Man, I was racing racing what? I mean, when I was 14, I was racing motocross, riding the shit out of dirt bikes. Since I was about 14, I've only knew one speed, and that was wide open. Street racing, the day I got my driver's license, I was street racing. My first car that I ever took to a drag strip was the Monza. And Brandon was 13 years old, and he's 28 now, so it was 15 years ago. I actually went and bought that roller from my cousin because Brandon had just turned 13, and I thought this is the perfect golden opportunity for me to get Brandon into something besides a bunch of dope and drugs and bullshit. Let's get him into cars. And at that point, we started building that car, working together, and he's been with me ever since.
Hence, that's how you got the name Monza.
Correct. My first car that I had on Midwest Street Cars was my Monza. And Sean Ellington, one night we were at Sonic, come up to me, and I think he was about half lit. He had been watching a UFC fight, and he couldn't remember my name, so he started calling me Monza. Well, there was 3 or 4 others standing around that heard it, and it stuck. And my screen name on Midwest Street Cars used to be Monzilla. Well, Farm Truck has always called me Monzilla. So between Monzilla and Monza, that's where it came from.
What was your biggest challenge going from nitrous to turbos?
You know, it wasn't the turbos wasn't the big deal. I went from carbureted, running a grid, to where I could tune my own shit on my laptop because the grid or a 7531 box was pretty simple. All I had to do was manipulate timing, and I had regulators that I played with my fuel pressure. So when we took all of that away, we had to learn fuel injection, turbos, a new type of traction control. I mean, it wasn't just learning turbos. We had to learn race cars all over again.
You had to learn it all.
And that's what took us a while. And then the first year that HPP helped us, and again, I'm not saying a bad word about HPP. I love them guys. But we didn't learn nothing. Manny tuned the car. The ECU was locked, so we couldn't learn nothing. He wanted to do it all. And that's one of the reasons why we went out on our own, because we wasn't learning nothing. So the first year we spent with turbos, we learned absolutely nada. So actually, we've got about a year and a half under our belt now, me and Brandon. And I'm still not worth a shit as far as getting on the computer and fuel tables and all that shit, but Brandon is.
I know you have hard enough time with your phone.
I mean, I have a hard time putting a YouTube video on Instagram.
That's no shit.
I'm a driver. I'm not a tuner, okay?
You can just Google it up.
I'll be the first to tell you. But I promise you this, I can still drive, and if somebody's behind that computer that can tune, I can take a car to number 1. Bet your ass on that.
What is your favorite weapon to hunt with?
Probably my new crossbow. I got a new Raven R20 crossbow, and that freaking thing is like a rifle out to 100 yards. I love it.
They're badass.
Yeah, it is badass. Now, it costs what a car costs. But
yeah, it's a small mortgage payment.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, I love it. I've never shot anything like it. I've had a crossbow before. It was a $500 crossbow, and the difference in a $500 crossbow and a $2,000 crossbow is like the difference between a Ford Fairmont and a Cadillac Escalade.
I would say a Pinto.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So, I mean, it is a wicked, wicked bow.
Hunting or fishing?
It just depends. I love both. I grew up doing both. I grew up with my dad taking me fishing in Kansas all the time, and we would run limb lines. So we did a lot of catfishing. Now, if I'm going to Tennessee with my buddy Scott Manning that owns Tennessee River Monsters, and we're fishing for stripers there, that's as good as deer hunting any day of the week, because we're catching 25-pound plus stripers. I mean, you don't catch little ones. They are massive.
So when we going?
You heard me talk to him today, probably next week. So, new YouTube video coming soon. We're gonna be catching big stripers. I've deer hunted since I was 14 years old, and I come from Kansas where there's big deer, but my dumb ass moved down here and didn't get my lifetime license before I left there. But I love both. I love both.
Hindsight's 2020.
I'll go stay 2 weeks straight deer hunting every day. And I'll go fishing 2 weeks straight every day if given the opportunity. I love them both.
Well, you have new merchandise soon on the website.
We inventoried everything last night and finally got it all organized and ready to sell. A lot of it is new that we just came out with in the last 4 months of this year. We're fixing to run a special on all of it and get rid of all of it. We've got new shirts designed. As soon as I do a sale and get rid of a bunch of that, I'm gonna order new shirts, but I got a bunch of money tied up in that stuff. We're gonna sell it real cheap, get rid of it, and get money to order more. I have spent a buttload of money this winter working on this car, and we got a spare engine. The spare engine is very big because we have been afraid to get out and beat that car up every night testing it, because about every 45 passes it needs rods. So now we can test, and if something happens, there's a spare engine sitting here, and so that's probably one of the key things that's going to make us faster this year than anything, is having that spare engine sitting in our trailer.
So that's another question.
So that's where all my money went. I got to sell some shirts to order the new shirts.
And that's where the whole
Waffle, yeah. That's why we got rid of the blue car. We're getting rid of some turbos. I mean, I got a big bill paying for that engine and chassis work at Larson's shop. There's a waffle on my Team Monza 405 page for some turbos. If anybody's needing some good turbos, go over there and check it out. We're hoping to have all this stuff paid for and have that car out and testing by the end of February.
Who is the funniest SOB on Street Outlaws?
Probably Chuck.
I was gonna say Chuck.
Probably Chuck. Chuck's pretty funny.
I was gonna say Chuck. And then, who do you like beating the best, or the most, should I say?
I probably get a bigger kick out of beating Dave than anybody. And don't take this wrong. Dave's my buddy. I like him. I've been racing Dave for a long time, and if I beat Dave, I know I've done something, because Dave's freaking fast. He don't never make a slow pass. So I like the challenge of racing Dave. I raced Dave for 2 years in a small tire class here in Ardmore and Thunder Valley, and I kicked his ass for 2 years straight. I won a championship both years, and I've given him his fair share of ass whoopings on the street too. But I mean, Dave's, like I said, Dave's fast, and it's nothing against Dave. It's just, I know I've got something done if I beat him.
He's a competitor.
And it's good. He's good to gauge against, because even if he beats you, if you were in the ballpark, then you know your shit's coming around.
Just like tonight.
Just like tonight. Better things are coming.
So you're saying stay tuned?
Stay tuned.
Well, I think that pretty wraps up a majority of the questions. I know that we couldn't get to all of them. There was hundreds of questions, but if you guys like this video and keep subscribing and wanting to see more of this stuff, we'll definitely sit down and do more of this Q&A and hearing some of the backside of Street Outlaws and some background of Jerry. But we do have a lot of videos coming up in the next coming weeks of some of the builds that we've completed here, some of the builds that we have coming up. A lot of stuff with the car, getting ready for the new season of not only Street Outlaws, but No Prep Kings as well. We have a lot of work to do yet to the car, from finish up chassis work. We have to rewire the whole car. We have to get the car painted and fix some issues there. So there's still a lot of work to be done. And so that's something that we're definitely going to show you guys as we move along.
There will be a pheasant hunting video coming up shortly.
Yeah, we're heading out this weekend to actually do some hunting with Robin Roberts.
Robin Roberts racing with the Firebird. We're going on a pheasant hunt with them up in Kansas. That's going to be fun. We're going to video it all. And there very well could be a big striper fishing trip worked in here in the next couple of weeks too, that we're going to probably try to slip away and do before racing season kicks off. Because once we start racing, I'm pretty much busy for the year.
It's going to be assholes and elbows.
Yep.
Well, guys, we appreciate in the short period of time you guys jumping in and subscribing and watching and commenting and liking and everything that you guys are doing. Keep following us on all our social media platforms, whether Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, because we do see it, even though we don't get to it, all the time. We do see your comments, we do see your likes, and we appreciate it. And so keep watching, keep subscribing, and we'll keep putting out some more content.